Hey guys, I have a new battery to take a look at here today. This is a 12 volt 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery from Dumfume. Dumfume. Is that how you pronounce it? Dumfume? This was the Black Friday special that was on sale for $99.95. I found it using the battery finder tool. If you haven't seen the new battery finder tool yet, definitely check it out. It's a very easy way to quickly search and locate batteries on Amazon, including those that are on sale, lightning deals, and so forth. This was the only battery that I saw during the Black Friday Cyber Monday sales period in the 12 volt 100 amp hour category that fell below $100. A lot of people were purchasing them, but at that price wasn't really a good deal. After all, you know what they say about things that sound too good to be true. Well, I bought one myself, so let's take a look. We'll do our usual capacity test, and then we'll tear it apart to see how it's built inside. This battery measures roughly 10¼ inches in length, 6½ inches in depth, and 8½ inches in height. Additionally, it weighs in at just 21½ pounds. There's not a whole lot else to see outside. We have our terminals there, the same standard M8 bolts we see on all of these batteries. We also have a pair of collapsible plastic handles here for carrying the battery around. And on the back, we just have some safety warnings and a contact email address should you need assistance. The manual actually looks a little bit different. It's not your typical copy-paste type manual that we've seen with most of these batteries. And here we have the specifications. It's rated for a continuous charge of 20 amps, maximum of 100 amps, a max discharge of 100 amps, and according to this, it should have low temperature charge protection, so we'll see if that actually works. It's rated for 6,000 cycles and an 80% depth of discharge, and you can wire 4 batteries in parallel or 4 in series for a 48 volt system. And the rest is just some information on battery connections, safety procedures, some troubleshooting, and some frequently asked questions. Alright, so the battery is fully charged. It's been sitting on the charger overnight. You can see we're at 14.46 volts. And I used my Ames lithium iron phosphate rated charger here. So I can go ahead and disconnect the charger. Can connect my new voltage sense leads. So this is a 4-wire test now. And we're ready to begin. We're discharging at 20 amps, so this will be a 0.2 C-rate test, and that's approximately 268 watts at the current voltage. We'll be back when this finishes. 104.3 amp hours. That is much better than I was expecting, I'll be honest. And taking a look at the discharge report, we started at 13.86 volts, ended at 9.41 volts. The total capacity was 104.37 amp hours, and the test took 5 hours, 12 minutes, and 18 seconds. Ooh, that stinks inside. Can't tell if that's the smell of battery or the smell of glue. It might just be the smell of glue. So here's a quick look at the layout inside before we dig a little further. Guys, whatever this white stuff is that they use to hold down like the bolts and the connectors and stuff, like this is where the temperature sensor was. This stuff's not even dry. It's like pasty, like it's not, you don't know if it's not cured the whole way or that's just the way that type of stuff is, but it's even like sticky. That's probably where the smell's coming from. I doubt it's the battery. I think it's just whatever this wet glue stuff is. All right, a little bit of pounding and one injury later and the battery is out. So let's take a look at what we got here. Our positive conductor is a piece of number 6 silicone insulated wiring, 200 degrees Celsius insulation rating. The negative terminals on the BMS are a pair of number 8 gauge silicone insulated wires. We'll take a look at the BMS here a little bit later. I got that white stuff on my brand new work mat. It is a pack of 4 aluminum case prismatic cells. It's held together with some strapping here, this plastic nylon strapping. We've got some nice corner plates here on the cells to protect the corners from being squished in. We do have a nice piece of foam on the left and the right of the pack. We have a large piece of foam on the bottom here, which would have been the side. We have a large piece of foam on the top of the battery pack, and it does not obstruct the vents of the cells, so they actually cut holes in the foam. Let's see if we can pull that off or if it's glued on too tight. There it goes. All right. Our balance leads are the standard crimped on ring terminal with heat shrink. They are individually labeled. They are tied nicely on the center of the pack here, and the end is covered in some spiral wrap for added safety. 3 of the 5 are connected to the bus bar via screws, and then the main positive and main negative were simply attached to the positive and negative post respectively with the same bolt that's holding down the main power cables. These do all have QR codes intact. They do not appear to be sanded or messed with in any way. I don't recognize this particular type of QR code, so let me grab the QR code decoder. All right, so these are Great Power cells, and they are, Great Power is sort of a budget brand. It's nothing super special. I was not able to find the exact data sheet for these cells. These are 02K CBFD, and I found 02K CBFE. But regardless, most of the data sheets I've looked at for Great Power cells list them at a 2000 cycle life, down to 80% state of health at a 0.2 C charge and discharge rate. And here's just a close-up of that QR code for you. Otherwise, everything looks great with these cells. The laser welds are all done in a very clean fashion. They look like they are well adhered, maybe even overpowered a little when you look at this one, for example, but there is an isolator between the cells there, so they are all separated. I don't see any swelling or bloating. They're all straight on all of the edges. They fit together perfectly. So they are brand new cells as far as I can tell. And here's just a quick shot of the bottom as well. You can see they are perfectly clean. Nothing suspicious there either. Taking a quick look at the BMS, I don't see any apparent brand name on there. It does say 100 amp and 100 amp, so I do believe it's a 100 amp rated BMS. I don't see any brand name, and maybe there's a model number there, but it doesn't really look like a model number either. I guess this would be the model number on the side here. SH14A0B012X1.5. Oh, so here's a look at the BMS, and yes, all of that white stuff is wet. I don't think it's thermal paste. It seems the consistency doesn't seem right for thermal paste. Maybe it is thermal paste, some sort of thermal grease. But yeah, that's not thermal pads like we typically see on some of these batteries. But those are the FETs, the transistors that are used to control the charging and the discharging. And we can also see there is some sort of conformal coating here just down the center of the board. So it's really like the thickness of right here. The whole way across is conformally coated, but they sort of cheaped out above and below. I mean, there are no components there, but in my opinion, why not just conformally coat the entire board? This connector is where our balance leads are. We can see our control transistors here, and we have the balancing resistors. So that's where your power is going to get bled off if it needs to do any balancing. And then this is probably a control circuit if I had to guess. Not a whole lot to see in here. This is a very, very basic and plain BMS. Alright, so we're charging at 19 amps. I'm going to spray some computer duster here on the temperature sensor and just make sure it shuts down. Of course, we can't tell the exact temperature, but we can tell that it does indeed function. 3 seconds. It shut down in 3 seconds. So let's go ahead and warm it back up. And we are charging again at 19 amps. We'll test it one more time just to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 seconds that time. So the low temperature charge protection, this battery does indeed work. That is very cool for $99.95. All right, there we go. The Black Friday special, a 12 volt, 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery from Dumfume. So do I think this is a good deal? At $99.95, you really can't go wrong. The battery passed our capacity test at 103.4 amp hours. It does have low temperature charge protection, which quite honestly, I'm surprised to see. I do think it is overrated a little bit. I don't think you're going to see 6,000 cycles at an 80% depth of discharge. That's just my personal opinion. This does appear to be a budget battery. They are budget cheap cells. It's a very budget cheap BMS. I mean, there's not really many components on that BMS, but it does work and it does the job well. And I do think it'll be fine with 100 amps like the battery is rated for. There's nothing here that really steers me away from this battery, but again, it is a budget battery and I do think there are better options on the market if you're willing to spend an extra $40 or $50. I will leave a link to this battery. It is up to $139 as of this video. So that begs the question as to why was it $99.95 on Black Friday? Was that just a sale? And here's the thing, this was the cheapest battery at the time, and I think this was a well-played tactic by the manufacturer to get some attention. They sold a ton of these batteries being Black Friday. A ton of people out there now have these batteries. They are posting reviews, they're posting videos, they're providing feedback. Not only are they getting those reviews and that feedback, they've built up some sales velocity in Amazon. Where is that clamp meter that's beeping? And if you've ever sold something on Amazon or know somebody who sold something on Amazon, you probably understand the concept of sales velocity, where you build up your sales and as you get more and more sales, your listing is promoted more and more. It's appearing in the top search results, it's recommended. This listing is now tagged as the #1 new release in the battery category, so I do think that was a well-played tactic by the manufacturer. That said, if you purchased one of these, please share your experience down in the comment section so I can read them and so other people out there who bought similar batteries can read them. I would love to hear your guys' feedback. Hit that like button before you go, and thanks for watching.